Good morning. Thanks for joining us on The Press, reaching you live right here from Abuja City. My name is Anire Binitie. It's always a pleasure being here every Tuesday, knowing that you were there to be my guest on the other side. Today, like every other day, promises the best in terms of analysis, weather, and of course the front pages of the newspaper. I have a guest who has come so early to ensure that we start at the right time and to also give his take on the issues we shall be taking a look at today. We're taking a focus today on the show, which we picked right from the front page of the newspaper. And the only way to find out what we're talking about today is to ensure that you sit back wherever you're watching the show and be part of the discussion once the phone lines are opened, so you can also have your say. This is your program. I never get tired of letting you know that this program was created so your voice can be heard. Apart from that, we try as much as possible to keep Nigerians abreast of happenings and, of course, those in diaspora, so they follow what is going on in the country. And this platform is the best platform to do that. Okay, like we usually do on the show, we start with our weather report and we gradually, transfer to the front pages of the newspaper before we have our guest here and the phone lines are open. So we'll begin with the usual. And this morning on our front pages, I'm going to start from Port Harcourt. Port Harcourt this morning started at 24 degrees Celsius. Rainy conditions will continue all day with wind gusts up to 9 kilometers per hour. It's going to be drizzle all the way in Port Harcourt today, with highs at 27 degrees and lows at 22. 9 a.m. saw it rise to 25 degrees at 55%. You can actually see the rain there. Port Harcourt is going to be rainy all day, just like Abuja. By 10 a.m. it's expected to rise to 26 degrees at 60%. It will remain so at 11 a.m. at 60% and 26 degrees. However, it will rise to 27 degrees and will remain so for 12 p.m. and 1 p.m. at 60 and 65% respectively. So there you have it. If you're in Port Harcourt, make sure you get prepared for whatever the weather will bring this day. Okay, away from Port Harcourt, let us take a look at Enugu. It's going to be all drizzling in Enugu today, with highs at 27 degrees and lows at 22. Enugu started at 23 degrees, rose to 24 degrees Celsius by 9 a.m. at 50%. 10 a.m. we'll see it rise to 25, with retaining the 50% status. However, by 11 a.m. we'll see it rise to 26, while 12 p.m. and 1 p.m. will maintain the 27 rise in the weather. For 12, it shall rise by 50, while by 1 p.m. by 55%. So there you have it. If you're in Enugu, make sure you get prepared while leaving the house. Let us take a look away from Enugu. I think we have Imo tucked in somewhere here. Let me take a look. Yeah, Imo is right here. Imo started at 23 degrees. Is also raining. It's a rainy day in Imo. You can see the pictorial right there on your screen. Rainy conditions will continue all day with wind gusts up to 11 kilometers per hour. Enugu started at 23 degrees, rose to 24 by 9 a.m. at 55 degrees or 55%. 11 a.m. will see it rise to 25 degrees, maintaining the 55% status. 11 a.m. will see it rise to 26. And 12 p.m. and 1 p.m. will see it rise to 26 degrees respectively. However, there will be a shift by 1 p.m. as it adds 5 to the percentage. Highs are at 27 degrees and lows at 23. Moving away from Imo, let us take a look at Delta. Delta State this morning. Delta started at 24 degrees Celsius. Is also raining. It's a rainy day in Delta. Apparently, the entire Nigeria will experience a little bit of rain today, depending on the state. Rainy conditions will continue all day in Delta also. Wind gusts are up to 8 kilometers per hour. By 9 a.m., it was 24 degrees Celsius. However, by 10 a.m., is predicted to rise to 25 degrees at 70%. 11 a.m., we'll see it rise to 26, maintaining the 70% status. However, by 12 p.m. and 1 p.m., it will maintain the same 26 degrees status at 65% each. Highs at 27 degrees and lows at 23. Away from Delta, let us take a look at Benin City, Benin, Edo State. Benin started at 23 degrees. By 9 a.m., it rose to 24 degrees at 60%. 9 a.m., we'll see it rise to 25 degrees Celsius, maintaining the 60% status. By 11 a.m., it will remain at 25 degrees, but 5% added to its percentage. However, by 12 p.m. and 1 p.m., it will rise to 26 degrees, maintaining the 65% status. Highs at 26 degrees and lows at 23. Rainy conditions will continue all day, wind gusts are up to 9 kilometers per hour. Away from that, let us take a look at Kaduna. Kaduna started at 22 degrees Celsius. By 9 a.m., it rose to 23 at 20%. A little bit of drizzle there expected. Rainy conditions expected around 9 a.m. Wind gusts are up to 20 kilometers. However, by 11 a.m., it's expected to rise to 26 degrees, while 12 p.m. and 1 p.m. will maintain the 27 degrees status for Kaduna. The highs are expected at 28 and the lows at 21. Away from Kaduna, let us take a look at Kano. Ooh, Kano is very canoeing this day, as usual. That city is hot, I tell you. Kano, though mostly cloudy with highs at 31 and lows at 23. Partly cloudy conditions are expected around this time with wind gusts up to 21 kilometers per hour. Though it started at 24, by 9 a.m. it rose to 25. You can see the sun out there. 10 a.m. we'll see it rise to 27 degrees. 11 a.m. we'll see it rise to 29. It will maintain the same status for 12 p.m. at 29, but will rise to 30 by 1 p.m. That is Kano for you. Away from Kano, let us take a look at Abuja. Abuja is going to be cloudy today, although rainy conditions are expected around 9 a.m. Wind gusts are up to 13 kilometers per hour. It rained all through the night in Abuja, and we're seeing that this morning, despite this prediction. It started at 22 degrees. By 9 a.m., it was 23. It's expected to maintain the 23 degrees status by 11 a.m. at 30%. However, by 11 a.m., we expect to see it rise to 24 degrees. By 12 p.m., 25, maintaining same at 1 p.m. Cloudy, like I said, with highs at 26 and lows at 21. Away from Abuja, let us take a look at Lagos. Lagos started at 24 degrees. It's raining in Lagos. It's a rainy day. Rainy conditions will continue all day with wind gusts up to 21 kilometers per hour. Actually, the highs are expected at 27 degrees and the lows at 24. 9 a.m., it presented 25 degrees at 65%. 10 a.m. we'll see it rise to 25 more at 55. 11 a.m. 26, 12 p.m. maintaining the 26 degrees status at 55%. However, by 1 p.m. we're expected to rise to 27 degrees, falling back to 50%. Okay, I thought we had Benue somewhere in the mix. All right. Okay, yes, we have Jos. We have Jos this morning. Jos started at 19 degrees. Jos is going to be mostly cloudy today with highs at 26 degrees and lows at 18. Partly cloudy conditions are expected around 3 p.m. Wind gusts are up to 16 kilometers per hour. By 10 a.m. is expected to rise to 22 degrees and by 11 a.m. 24. However, by 12 p.m. and 1 p.m. we'll see it rise to 25 degrees Celsius. All right, that is our weather for this morning. If your state was mentioned, you know what to do. You just protect yourself as much as you can. And for those of you in Kano, well, the sun is something that is peculiar with that state, so you know what to do. Arm yourself with your water and, of course, the sunshades and your umbrella to protect your skin. And, of course, in the rainy states, make sure you do not leave the house without protecting yourself. And stay clear of a flash-flood area so we don't have any casualties. All right, let us move on now to the front pages of the papers, what the papers are saying this morning. And I'm going to start with the Punch. The Punch newspaper this morning says July flood alert. 20 states at risk despite 620 billion naira intervention. We have a rider to that if my eyes can pick it. The Mets forecast flooding in Lagos, Edo, Benue, 17 others in July. States face scrutiny over 620 billion naira ecological fund. Benin, right now, the floods in Benin, I tell you, the videos that we see on the social media platforms are really scary. Despite these predictions coming, Benin is actually suffering a lot of flooding this July, and it is actually alarming. We just hope that the states that have the alerts will take them seriously and protect citizens. We still have more on the front page of the Punch. Kenya anti-government protests leave 10 dead, dozens injured. I'll say that again. Kenya anti-government protests leave 10 dead, dozens injured. You can actually see the pictorial on the front page of the Punch. It is not a very funny sight at all that Kenya is actually going through all of this moment. We just pray and hope that the security forces in that country and government as a whole, they're able to bring whatever unrest is happening right now in Kenya under control. Now, above the mast on the front page of the Punch this morning, 2027 firestorm as APC coalition battle for Northern ADC leaders. We have a rider. ADC accuses federal government of backroom deals with Northern leaders. APC fumes. Beside that story, Ladija next in line as tribute flow for late Olubadan. Very sad story after his birthday for us to wake up to this very, very sad story indeed. Now, away from that, Nigeria's reform push yet to reach masses. Nigeria's reform push yet to reach masses, says the IMF. This is one of our focus this morning, and we advise that you stick with us to the end of the show so you can contribute your own say on the topic. We shall be taking a look at Nigeria's reform push yet to reach masses as the analysis given by the IMF. All right, still on the front page of the Punch, U.S. Embassy begins screening Nigerian students' social media accounts. So if you're intending to travel as a student to the United States of America, you have to be careful what you put on your social media, what you push out there. It may just come to bite you. And this is one of the measures, if you ask me, that the United States government is putting in place to ensure they actually put a stop to Nigerians traveling into their country. For them to now bring this, we're yet to settle the new 10% tariff hike from the United States government to Nigeria, and we're having this. And, not just Nigeria, a lot of country has been caught in this fire, the crossfire from the United States since Trump assumed office. All right, away from that, ASUU branches suspend lecturers over delayed June salaries. This, again, is going to be one of our focus this morning on the press. Senate braces for showdown as Natasha plans to return today. You can find that story on page 27 of the Punch. All right, we have lots of papers. Let us move on now to the Vanguard newspaper this morning. It says 2027 presidency plotting to destabilize us, ADC alleges. 2027 presidency plotting to destabilize us, ADC alleges. Keyamo inaugurates Enugu Air. That is on page 9. Nigeria's export drive in danger as Trump plans 10% extra tariff against BRICS. Flood destroys 500 houses in Kogi community. Above the mast, no rift between Buhari, Tinubu, Garba Shehu. Emirship tussle, police launch investigation as supporters of Sanusi Bayero clash in Kano. Beside that story, Tinubu, Makinde, Sultan, others mourn as Olubadan, Oba Olakunleyin dies at 90. Olakunleyin dies at 90. Customs engage international airline operators on money laundering. All right, that's all we have on the Vanguard this morning. Let us move on now to The Guardian. The Guardian this morning, fiscal inefficiencies erode Nigeria's prospect despite weakening dollar. More of that read on page 6 of The Guardian. Above them, just below the mast, flood destroys 500 houses in Kogi community. NDDC commits to improved mandate delivery. Opposition unity at risk as ADC leadership faces a legal hurdle, collapse warnings. Court jails 9 Chinese nationals over Panzi terrorism scheme in Lagos. Palace guards injured, police vehicle vandalized as hoodlums attack Sanusi's palace. Tinubu says fuel subsidy unsustainable, benefits only rich citizens. All right, let us move on now to the Daily Times. The Daily Times this morning says NLC threatens showdown over Osun local government fund diversion. More of that read on page 11, the Daily Times. Federal government channels subsidy gains, into infrastructure economic reforms. Tinubu. Alleged drug deal, court adjourns Abba Kyari's trial till July 24th. APC plotting to cripple opposition, meets state party chairman. ADC alleges. UK Nigeria have built enduring educational partnership. Department of High Commissioner. Department High Commissioner. Okay, equities, investors gain 192.85 billion naira as ASR rises to 0.25%. Governor Oti pleads with ROMAFC for increased allocation to state. All right, let us move on now to the Daily Independent. The Daily Independent this morning, fuel subsidy cuts savings are being reinvested. Fuel subsidy cut savings are being reinvested, says Tinubu, assures of commitment to transparency, fiscal prudence, as lawmakers demand stronger oversight, accountability. How Nigeria can unleash its economic potential by IMF. Okay, that's a good one. No plans to explore nuclear weapons technology, says the federal government. ADC accuses Tinubu allies of plots to destabilize coalitions, says Tinubu wouldn't be president if Jonathan crushed opposition. Troops for planned attack on Plateau community, arrest bandit. Tinubu's tax reforms to transform Nigerian economy or economic space. Ladaja to make history as ex-Oyo governor to ascend Olubadan throne. Tinubu Makinde mourn Olubadan. All right, let us move on now to the matrix. The matrix this morning, 2027, fresh trouble for opposition's coalition. ADC members sue David Mark, Aregbesola, others over party takeover, says interim executives should not act in leadership capacity. IMF to federal government, focus on effective budget framework, increase domestic revenue to unleash Nigeria's economic potential. Nigeria at risk as Trump threatens extra 10% tariff on BRICS partner countries. And on the entertainment scene, Cynthia Morgan accuses former Labour boss George Okoye of avoiding reconciliation. Away from entertainment, CBN clears air on $50 NRBVN charges for Nigerians in diaspora. Finally, federal government congratulates Amaju Pinnick over CAF appointment. All right, let us move on now to the leadership. We have so many papers this morning. The leadership says, Kano Emirate tussle, my palace gate breached by Bayero supporters, Emir Sanusi. And above the mass, Tinubu Sultan Emir of Ilorin, others mourn as Olubadan dies at 90. All right, let us move on to the blueprint. The Blueprint newspaper, not going back on nuclear test ban in Nigeria, says Shetima. Says judiciary central to strong, vibrant capital market. Be consistent in court rulings, SEC boards charges judges. Mortgages turn to Ladija as Olubadan Olakuleyin dies at 90. Savings from fuel subsidy removal helping infrastructure funding. All right, this day newspaper is up next. Shell, Total Energies, expect first oil, gas production from $5 billion Bonga North, $550 million Uberta Field by 2027. That's on business. Kayamo inaugurates Enugu Air, says Mba, undoubtedly one of the best governors. Above the mast, CBN directs banks to submit capital plans, gives 10 days deadline. The Nigerian Tribune is up next. Global trade tension over fresh U.S. 10% tariff hike on Nigeria, BRICS nations. That is on the Nigerian Tribune, as Trump decries anti-American policies of bloc. Not ganging up against Tinubu APC National Secretary, says we will not miss Aregbesola, Amechi, others in 2027. We didn't accuse NNPCL of stealing 210 trillion naira, but asked to account for it, Senate Committee. GTAS as federal government strips fan NCAA NAMA of revenue collections power. Local government funds are showing people angry with you, APC leaders of thought tell Tinubu. All right, let us take a look at the News Direct this morning. The News Direct says Tinubu, Makinde, Abiodun, others mourn as Olubadan of Ibadan land dies at 90. We have more papers. The Daily Monitor is up next. ADC alleges plan by federal government to destabilize opposition coalition, restates commitment to resist anti-democratic actions. All right, we have another paper to go. Okay, we have the Showbiz Gist. Showbiz Gist says, Easy Concept boss retracts statement, confirms peace talks with Mercy Chinwo. Lack of money affected my confidence, relationships, actor Saka. Cynthia Morgan accuses former level boss Judo Koye of avoiding reconciliation. We've taken that before. All right, that's all we have today on our front page this morning. Yes. I want to advise that you stick with us so you'll be part of the discussion when we come back, because the way we do it, when we come back, our guest will be here. Like I said at the beginning, I saw just one guest. I'm hoping that the other two has come. So we have a full house this morning. We'll take a short break as usual, and when we return, the conversation. Stay with us. Yes, welcome back once again. Nice to know that you were there watching, and we're about to begin our discourse in the House. I have just one guest and still expecting the next one. The other guest, I beg your pardon, my guest this morning is not a new face on the show. You get to see him first. But first and foremost, we're taking a look at two focus, like I told you, social safety net, Nigeria's reform push yet to reach masses, says the IMF, as well as impending ASUU strike. As we discuss these issues today, we want you to be part of it. I implore you that you sit back wherever you're watching the show. Hold your phones very close by, so when the phone lines are opened, you can now call in to be part of the discussion. To help us understand this issue this morning, I have one of my two guests in the House, is Comrade Musa Mamman Kontagira, is a moderator, ASUU Villa News, and member of the President media team, is also a social affairs analyst. It's so nice to have you on the show this morning.
Thank you. Good morning.
Yes, so you already know our focus for the morning. The IMF has raised an alarm stating that there is actually a lack of robust social net or buffer for poor Nigerians despite all the economic reforms being carried out in the nation. They gave the Nigerian government a little bit of kudos that the reforms are there, but on the street, the common man is still not affected by these reforms. The poor still getting poorer, food insecurity, poverty in the land is still very high, increasing daily, and of course insecurity generally in all parts of the nation is actually adding to the hardship that the poor Nigerian is suffering. They did give three core congratulations to the Nigerian government on the achievements that they've had, towards the reforms, but that, the reforms are not in par with what's expected with the poor Nigerians. So we shall be taking a look at that. And of course, ASUU, we may just be seeing another round of ASUU strike as they've actually said they've invoked the no salary, no payment, especially for the month of June. And some universities have already they've joined in the strike. University of Abuja is definitely one of them, and so even the polytechnics are threatening to actually join in the strike, telling the federal government that, you know what, it is no salary, no pay. And we all know how it goes in Nigeria when the federal government does not actually listen to this group as a whole, and the whole nation is affected by it. So these are the issues that we're taking a look at this morning. But before we delve into it, we're going to start with the IMF, alert that's been given to Nigerians at this moment. I just want your state of mind on Nigeria before we go into detail this morning. Mamman.
Good morning, my fellow citizens. Good morning, Nigerians. For us to get loan, this is the fault of everybody. Need to come together to fight those that are causing havoc, to fight those causing insecurity in the country. It is not the business of one. Let it be the business of all.
Now, the IMF also gave suggestions to the Nigerian government on how to go about ensuring that these reforms, are felt by the poor masses, and I actually got in three that I want us to take a look at. It says the country must pursue stronger and more sustained growth to lift millions out of poverty with an urgent need to expand cash transfers in the short term. Now, when we talk about cash transfers, a lot of Nigerians have they do not actually believe that due process is followed in terms of cash transfers in the nation. We hear about it. We see it on the print. We see it on on the news that transfers are being made. But when you ask most people, during the period when you hear about transfers, they will tell you that there's no one that I've asked concerning transfers that have told me, look, I've gotten an alert from the federal government, when they say they're doing that. But again, you've talked about your state being farmers, they're predominantly farmers, and you've advised Nigerians to go into farming, to ensure that there's food sufficiency. The question I'm asking you is, do you think this suggestion by the IMF is the best way to go? Sending monies to Nigerians, how would this change their lives in any way? How would this make sure that they come out of poverty? How would that impact poverty in the land? And again, the question is, how much is being sent? How often is the money being sent? How would this in any way improve the lives of Nigerians?
To a layman, I think Nigerians, we don't need the sharing of funds all around. What we need is to try as much as possible to provide 2 to 3 things that a layman need. First is security. Second is electricity. And then third is health, you get? Mm-hmm. And then add up to it water. So
security, electricity, water, and what again? And health. Okay, try and break all this down for us, how this would actually improve the lives of Nigerians, because we cannot stop talking about these issues, just hoping that there's a shift and a change. And that's the reason why we have programs like this, not just in KAFTAN television. We have people come and make sure we talk to government, and our aim at the end of the day is that someone is listening to effect the change that we desire as Nigerians. So how would all of these that you've mentioned improve the lives of Nigerians towards bringing more out of poverty?
Let me set an example with last week I was having an opportunity to meet a sitting senator, and we had a discussion with my fellow journalists, and my opinion there was locations that are into agriculture. We have fertile land in Nigeria. The government should provide schools to them for their children to go to school. They should provide farm implement for them. They should provide crops for them. If government can provide that, and then this is what we want you to cultivate for us, they will do that. Why? Because to get fertilizer is not easy now. It is very cost. And now we are into modern farming. Getting a tractor is a cost, you get, and then getting a lot of the labor is a cost. Why? Because due to the cost of malaria and other waterborne diseases. But if those things are being provided, I think we are going to get the best out of it. Let's stop beating around the bush.
Okay.
Let us say the reality how it is. Nigeria, we are getting back what every day in terms of agriculture. And this is a concern of especially our lawmakers, that every day are into amending one constitution to another, whereby this is the right thing to be done. A lot of countries like Brazil and Malaysia, they go into cultivating of a lot of crops. Like Malaysia go into cultivating of palm oil and the rest of them, whereby we have all this in Nigeria. Why can our politicians, our leaders, invest in that? Number one, it will reduce lack of unemployment, because the youth will cultivate and they will be paid. Number two, there will be more jobs. Number three, there will be availability of food. And then number four, the country will have its own save for the rainy day. But we are diverting into something different. The government has boosted agriculture 2 weeks ago, the president have flagged up almost over 2,000 tractors. Now, other states have tried possible best into pushing into agriculture. A governor cannot do it alone without the effort of the lawmakers. What is it being done with all the money being given to them for constituency project? You understand? This is something that we need to focus on. We need to go back to the drawing board and do the right thing. We need to go back to the drawing board and do what we are known for. Before the invention of crude, Nigeria is being blessed with agriculture. There are a lot of histories that have been given when we were in school of the pyramid, granite pyramid, and the rest. Now, we have left it behind. Now, we have that energy of importing food from abroad. I am calling on the youth especially. We are just trying to think things will get easy for us. These AG ones have done their time. They are going. We are the youth. We are the future of tomorrow. And the unborn generation, what will they expect from us? We need to go back to agriculture. It is the right time now. Because if we go back to agriculture, I believe we will have a lot food to feed the nation. It is a shameful thing for Nigeria, a country like Nigeria, will be crying of hunger, where we have the basket, the food basket of the nation. We have states like Niger, we have states like Kebbi that produces rice. Let us do the right thing. And I'm calling on everybody involved, the government, the farmers, everybody that is involved. Please, let us come together to save Nigeria.
Now, it's interesting that you're calling on the Nigerian youth to to rise up to the occasion. But I remember that when you started the discourse, you talked about the impact of insecurity, that was how you started, that, and all of these that we're going to discuss today, you pick insecurity on top of the list as one of the main causes why it appears that government reforms are not being felt, in the grassroots, and which a lot of people will agree with you. Now, you've talked about modern farming. The Nigerian youth still believes that they don't have, for me, I feel they don't have the right information about modern farming, as it were. But would you blame them when they don't have the encouragement, not just from government, from the local government, as it were, but from the national? You talk about 200 tractors that Tinubu, that was flagged off 2,000, I beg your pardon, 2 weeks ago. Would that be enough for the entire nation, is the question I am asking. Would that be enough for the 36 states that we have? Would that be enough as encouragement for Nigerian youth? Because what they still do is subsistence farming, the hoe and the cutlass. And that is what they still believe is what farming is all about, because they do not see the infrastructure, they do not see the modern amenities that you're talking about. They do not see it. They don't have that information, as it were. I remember when I was in secondary school, we had a farm. We did agriculture. It was a compulsory course in school. And when it is time for agric time, we all go out to the farm. We planted yam, maize. During maize time, when we have our bumper harvest, every child will go home with a bag of maize. We planted yams, we planted granules, okra, pepper, tomatoes, right in my secondary school. How many schools have that today? How many schools have that? I can tell you it is near to none. So that awareness is not there. And for us to get any information, it has to start from the grassroots. So I really need your take on this. Where exactly lies the problem? If you're asking the Nigerian youth, where do they get the money or for modern agriculture that you've mentioned? What are the states doing? So we need to still take a holistic look at this problem.
You see, there's an intervention already for states that are into agriculture, for them to boost agriculture in various states. But the reality of it is, are those states ready to engage into agriculture fully? You get? Government is ready to give the support. And also, they are ready, but they still need to do more, in the sense that we need to understand that this is what needs to be done. And not doing it will still give us bad impression on not doing it. So we need to do the right thing.
Okay.
We need to bring out it real as it is. Let us stop covering that we don't have what it's needed. We have it. Those areas that has insecurity, government should do more, should give more support. It is the duty of everybody. When I mean agriculture, I don't mean only farming. There's a cultivation of, there's a
animal husbandry.
We have the poultry, we have fishery. A youth of Nigeria now don't want to go into hard labor. Why? Because everybody thinks he can get it overnight, which is very wrong. If care is not taken, we are going to fall into more problem of hunger in the years to come. So we need to do the right thing. We need to come out and organize programs. There's a lot of pressure groups that are there. They shouldn't advocate only for good governance. They should advocate for security, advocate for agriculture, advocate for health, advocate for well-being of every citizen.
Now, when we advocate, or when they advocate for good governance, I think all that you've mentioned is part of what is expected from a good government. That is what citizens expect for those we appoint to serve us. They're supposed to be servants and not lords. And exactly what we ask for are just the basics of life, and I don't think Nigerians are asking for too much. If you just joined us, this is the press this morning, Tuesday the 8th of July. We've just been informed that our second guest is here, so we'll do the needful by taking a break, and when we return, the conversation will continue. Stay with us. Yes, welcome back once again, and I want to appreciate you for being there as we move straight on to the second part of our discussion this morning. And yes, my second guest is here. Fine, he was here yesterday, but I had to call him again this morning to be part of the press. You already know him. He is Prince Richard Oriri. Richard is the public affairs analyst. Richard, it's so nice to have you again. Always been there for us when we call you to serve. You're serving your nation by coming to give your take on issues bordering on national safety, and when we call you. Now, today we're taking a look at social safety net, Nigeria's reform push, which is yet to reach the masses. This is what the IMF says, and again, we want to take a look at impending ASUU strike and take a look at it holistically, because some states have already beginning to join. They've started joining the strike action, as they've said, no pay, no work to the federal government on their June salary. Before you came, my guest, Mamman Kontagira, actually helped to make us understand some of the issues that the IMF has raised, saying that, you know, despite the economic reforms, which they gave kudos to the Nigerian government, the poor in Nigeria are just getting poorer. Food insecurity still looms in the land, insecurity there too, generally still in the land, and there need to be a change and a push in the right direction to ensure that these reforms are actually impactful in the life of the Nigerian, if one, then all. So I would want your take on IMF's alarm alert this moment.
Thank you very much, and good morning, Nigerians. For me, when it comes to IMF and Nigeria and the entire Africa, I have no serious trust in anything coming from IMF when it comes to Nigeria. IMF, they are agents of United States, and the condition we find ourselves today in Nigeria is IMF and World Bank that have put us into this serious condition, terrible condition that we are facing. Yes, they have said theirs, but it's left for our leaders to do the needful. And I see them as a spy. IMF can come now to say this because they are the ones manipulating the system. And if you look at recently, it's like our president is not in Nigeria now. He's in Brazil. It's a BRICS meeting. And if you hear what Donald Trump is saying, he has released about 10% what?
Tariff hike.
Tariff hike on all BRICS nations. BRICS ideology is targeted at U.S. foreign policy. And IMF will come from this direction today because Nigeria is going towards another direction that is not in the interest of America. And if care is not taken, we are going towards 2027 election. And the moment the United States of America, Nigeria is a serious partner, ally of America. There's no how U.S. will just look away and allow Nigeria to slip off his hands. And for Nigeria to take the stance of standing with BRICS, meaning the leadership of today, they are taking another direction, totally outside U.S. ideology. And they can do anything to undermine the government and ensure that 2027 election will not go in the favor of those in leadership. And that is why sometimes if I look at the way and manner our government officials, they look at foreign policy. International politics determine what happened in your domestic arrangement. And we don't look at international politics, and we don't even take it so serious. And for that reason, they take decisions anyhow they want. Before now, subsidy that was removed, it was IMF arrangement, a World Bank arrangement. There's Washington Consensus, Washington Consensus Agreement, economic policy. And they have removed subsidy. Almost all the policies from the beginning of this administration of recent is IMF policies they have been releasing to us. Removal of fuel subsidy and not channeling government public fund to public enterprises is IMF policy. And that is why the poverty level in the country has become so high. Well, late last year, $500 million was given to Nigeria as a loan for meter in our homes. Why that? Channeling that huge amount of money just for meter. Where will you get that money to pay back the loan? All those things are things that they put our leaders' minds away from the original things to do. If they can allow Nigeria to be industrialized, our middle class level will increase. Okay. And once the middle class increases, poverty level will just vanish. Okay. They know what they are doing. And now they have they have succeeded in putting Nigeria in a way that we have no other alternative than to run to them. And they can use this poverty level now, the high level of poverty in the country today now, to campaign against the current administration to enable them change the government in 2027. Anything can happen. So those in authority, they have to be very watchful.
Okay, so that is how Prince Oriri is starting his analysis this morning. I want to let you know now that the phone lines are open, so you too can have your say. You can call in and be part of the conversation. You see the topic right there on your screen. Call in and have your take of what we are actually discussing today on the show. All right, Mamman, you've heard what Prince Oriri has said. He has really he has told us, because a lot of Nigerians lately have actually fingered the IMF as one of the core problems that we have as a nation. And Prince Oriri has also said that you know, most of the policies at the end of the day is tilted towards the suggestions given by the IMF. It did mention for fuel subsidy removal. Ironically, Prince Oriri, after the announcement of the fuel subsidy removal, the IMF again came back to say, you know what, the numbers are not tallying. They do not. They seem to be lack of information from governments to the people, because the imports that they bring in does not tally with the figures that they are getting. IMF again raised the alarm to say, look, it appears that subsidy is still being paid, even though this government has continued to deny it. On the front pages of the papers today, our president also told us that, you know what, the money is coming from subsidy removal is being used for infrastructure. I'll take a pause to take our first call. Hello, good morning. Good morning. Okay, we missed that call. Please keep the calls coming. Now, the President Tinubu says that the monies from the subsidy removal is being used for infrastructural projects and development. My question is, do you feel that? Do you feel that as a Nigerian, do you see that being effective, despite what the IMF has said? Hello.
Yeah, beautiful morning, Ma. Good morning, Richard. Good morning, Mr. Kontagira. You are on recently calling from Lagos.
Good morning.
Good morning. So go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good morning, sir. Let me just put one word to where Mr. Richard landed regarding the IMF. The question I always ask: where is our National Economic Council? That's one question I always ask. And then I remember I read one article.
Okay. Oh, don't tell me. Okay.
Yeah, economic system of the country. The financial system and the economic setting are not on the same ground. That is on that. Then, kontagira made mention a lot of things regarding the agriculture. Believe me, in Nigeria, we have almost about 15 agricultural institutes, or 16 or 15 thereabouts. The time will not permit me to go into details, but if I might mention a little bit, we have the Institute of Agricultural Research and Training located in Oyo State. We have National Cereal Research Institute located in Bida. We have National Root Cross Research Institute. So many of them.
Okay, we lost that call. We appreciate you so much. We appreciate, so kontagira, you've seen what he has said. I want you to react to what he has said, and of course, the questions that I asked also.
You know, it's high time we need to accept to take defeat from IMF. Well, we need to tell ourselves the truth. Nigeria of yesterday is not the Nigeria of today. Nigeria of the past is not the Nigeria of the present. We need to take a bold step. Leave them alone and face our own. Let us be the inventor of ourselves. Let us be the modern Nigeria of ourselves. The steps we are to do it is, number one is, government need to accept advice. Government need to create a channel where the citizens, analysts, can come out, interact with government in order to bring a lasting solution. And those in charge of these are supposed to be the lawmakers, because every constituency belongs to a local government. Every senatorial district consists of local governments. So let's do the right thing. The right thing needs to be done now. The president is taking a bold step of leaving IMF to join BRICS, because the policies of BRICS are what will bring a lasting solution to Nigerians and to Africa, especially in terms of agriculture. Everybody knows Brazil as a country that they are good in terms of agriculture and other things. So we need to what? Try as much harder as it is, being the consequences that we come, leaving IMF, we need to do the right thing. Doing the right thing is everybody's hands need to be on deck. Those politicians that are being used in order to loot the resources of Nigeria need to understand that if Nigeria is destroyed today, it is destroyed not only for them, for us, for everybody, and for the unborn generation. So let us do the right thing. Let us fight ourselves. I'm calling on everybody to do the right thing for this country to move forward.
So we have a call. Hello?
Yeah, hello, ma. I'm sorry. My line just went off. Can you hear me now?
Okay, we can hear you.
Yeah, so when I'm talking about the political comparative analysis between Nigeria and Brazil, like I said, we have almost 15 agricultural research institutes. One, let us look at Brazilian Embrapa. Like I made mention, it was established in 1973. And the main agricultural research profession is to make sure that their main focus is to develop sustainable agriculture, to improve agricultural productivity, enhance food security, promote agricultural innovation, and so on and so forth. Today we are into AI technology system, and we are still, going into manual farming and so on and so forth. For God's sake, ask yourself, for how long shall we remain in this present predicament? Does that mean when we say research requires money? Very unfortunately, just about 10 hours ago, I come across a video clip that Radio France International interviewed one of our professors. Believe me, if you go across this interview, you cry with your tears. We have the professors, we have the technicians, we have almost all what it takes, we have the resources. Why are we wasting our strength and energy toward wrong direction? Are we expecting the international community to come and rebuild our nation for us? While we have the institutions that we don't respect, the more we begin to respect our institutions, the better for this for our country.
Okay, thank you so much. That's how much we can take on that call this morning. So there you have it. The caller has already, said that we do not need to wait for the international community to give us a direction for sustaining a nation as great and mighty as Nigeria. Let us take another call before we continue our discourse here. Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from, please?
Oriri from Abuja.
From Abuja?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Good morning, Nigerian, and good morning to your guest.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you. I want to talk about the happenings, the political happenings in Nigeria. Today, we have an individual who has made name for himself, and he has raised some political parties that nobody imagined could come to the fore of the political history of Nigeria, which is the person of His Excellency Peter Obi. You see, this man, I wonder every day how he come out of this group of corrupt people and he's not being tainted. People look for every means possible to tag him, and they couldn't get one.
Okay.
It gives me courage that one can still stay in the midst of darkness and remain the light.
Okay. All right, so that is the drift for our guest caller. As I like to mention, this platform is free for you to call in and let us know what you're going through as a Nigerian, what you have in your mind. And sometimes we'll have people call in and drift from the core topic. We give room for that also so that their voice is heard. And that is one call this morning. Because of time, we have another topic that we've not touched. We need to round up on the first part of it. One of the suggestions that IMF gave is that there should be effective and transparent budgeting framework to support infrastructure and social spending. That is another suggestion that they gave to ensure that poverty is removed from the core center of Nigerians, and of course the economic growth that we desire as a people we can achieve. Your take on that suggestion?
Transparency in a democratic setting like Nigeria is one of the basic ingredients of any democratic state. Transparency and accountability. Any government that is not accountable to the electorate, to the masses, is not a government. And we have had this issue of corruption over the years. And like IMF said, I said there is nothing IMF will say that I will believe them. They are manipulators. They are the ones manipulating our system. But before we can succeed, we should have leaders who have the interests of the country first at heart. If we have leaders that have the interests of the country at heart, we will have leaders that will see that providing basic amenities to the masses is the basic of every requirement of government. But for the fact that we don't have such leaders, that's why, like what our friend from Lagos said, the other caller from Lagos. Sincerely, Nigeria, we are not ready. Even this breeze that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is taking Nigeria to join, we are not ready. How do I say we are not ready? Look at our education system. There is nothing to talk about in Nigeria education system. Last year, Total Energy took over $6 billion off Nigerian soil to another African country for investment. Why? Because they said the MD said, even if you employ Nigerian graduates and you want to train them, they find it difficult to still train Nigerian graduates. And there is no how they can succeed without manpower. And if you talk of insecurity, it's everywhere in Nigeria. Our education system is nothing to talk about. Our brother from Lagos talked about Research. All he was talking about was research. America is where they are today because they don't play with research. China is challenging US today because of research. And China, they don't play with education. They don't play with heads. But in Nigeria, all of these, we are nowhere to be found. In the international system, America as it is now, there is no single government that controls every other country, every other nation across the globe. But America has placed themselves as the only hegemon in the entire world. Managing the world relations across the globe.
Just hold on.
If you go the three orders today in the global world, the three order, global security order is unipolar. America is the only one in that order. China is trying to be with them, but China can't go. Economic order, global economic order, it's only America and China. That is bipolar.
Let's take this call.
You understand?
Richard, let's take this call.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you're calling from Ebonyi. Good morning. What's your name, please?
Yeah, my name is Webo Augustine from Ebonyi.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Yeah, these issues we are talking on is based on leadership. We like Nigerian like leadership. You have not had a comprehensive leader, a leader that focused on the social welfare of the people. All those leaders we have been assembled is just for their own selfish interest. Apart from that, if we cannot get it right from the leadership aspect of it, we do some amount of this that will make the country better. So please, we totally failed on leadership problem. It's a big aspect of it.
Thank you so much. So he agrees that everything rises and falls on leadership. And you've taken us into education, which is like the next topic that we want to talk about because of our time. So we still have a few minutes to talk about it. ASUU is threatening to go, they started already, some institutions have already joined them, and they've invoked the no salary, no pay for the federal government at this moment. We want to take a look at ASUU, if this issue is not tackled on time, if June is not paid, July is not paid, and it begins to grow like that because the polytechnics also have threatened on Sunday that they're going to join in the strike. So, Mamman, because of time, I want you to let us understand if this goes further without it being tackled, the problems that can accrue from that, despite all others that we are handling right now. We do not want that again to be added to what we have as Nigerians.
First and foremost, we need to checkmate and look back into our educational system in Nigeria. We need to do the right thing. Doing the right thing in the sense there should be a cordial relationship between the union, the Ministry of Education, and government. What are your demands? These students pay school fees regularly, and they are not being getting the quality education they deserve. So what needs to be done is, I used to say time without number is, let's keep greed aside. Let's keep jealousy and face the reality. Because things are really falling apart. Some years back, if you see a graduate that study medicine, law, even by an interaction, you understand that this person is really a learned. I'm not disputing that the present student graduates are not fully educated. But now, due to some reasons, there are a lot of lapses. So I'm calling on those involved, the minister. The minister is doing his best, but he needs to do more. By the grace of God, there will be a cabinet reshufflement, adjustment of a lot of things. I think if the president found any of them wanting in that sector of education, bring in the person that can do the best. Bring in the person that can give an instruction to the education system in Nigeria, and the education system in Nigeria should get back to its feet. I'm not disputing that the minister is not doing his best. He's doing his best. But more need to be done in terms of education. A lot need to be done. A lot responsibility needs to, those in charge need to come down, keep greed aside and said, I am in charge of this, let me do it. And the issue of the strike is, I'm calling on the union to please join hands together to adjust the issue of strike. Let them agree, come on the same page to make an agreement with the government. Because
so far, academics across various tertiary institutions have not been paid. Uni-Jos, Uni-Abuja have already joined the strike. That is a reality on ground. And more branches of the Academic Staff Union of University, they've announced that the suspension of services following the delay in payment of salaries. So, Richard, this once again is a reality. You talked about the educational system, talked about Total Energy saying that taking $6 billion US out of Nigeria because even the graduates that they have that they want to train, they cannot apply what they have given to them. Mamman has corroborated what you said. Time passed where you talk with a graduate and you know you're talking with a learned person. But what we have now is half-baked, half-cooked, half-boiled, half-fried, and it's shocking sometimes when we try to interact and you wonder, am I talking to someone who even went through the primary school classes? So that is a reality. And when we continue to have strikes, or the people who are supposed to be the ones who give this knowledge, they are not paid or they're not satisfied, then definitely there's going to be a problem with the system continuously.
I want to sincerely align myself with what he has said. They need collaboration. Today, our tertiary institutions, they have what they call Tertiary Education Trust Fund. That is TED fund. If we're the source with which they drive the fund to pay these salaries, if they are finding it very difficult, they can channel that aspect of salary payment to TED fund. TED fund receive some percentage from crude oil sales monthly, and they receive percentage from even gas sales. Every sales from government in Nigeria, TED fund have percentage, either 2 or 2.5%. Meaning TED fund will never lack fund to taking care of tertiary institutions in Nigeria. If it is this salary that is making them to go on strike every time and every minute, they should channel it to TED fund. Before the month ends, TED fund should send allocations for salary to all the universities and other tertiary institutions across the country. TED fund should not just be there for infrastructure, just constructing classrooms and ICT centers in all the universities across Nigeria. They should be responsible in other areas as well, ICTs and other areas. If it is the salary they can take to TED fund to take care of, fine and good. That will solve the problem seriously. And Nigerian government as well, through Ministry of Education, they should take the issue of education very serious. Basic education, we are talking about the tertiary institutions. Basic education is nothing again in Nigeria. We have UBEC. UBEC, they are not up to what they ought to do. They are not doing what they are supposed to be doing. Our basic, if you go to the 775 local government in Nigeria today, if you want to go to public primary schools, you will see that in all the local government, you can't find one that is functional.
Now, because of time, we're rounding off in the two topics that we've talked about now. Can you just round up for us your final take on it before I go back to Mamman? We have like 2 minutes, so I'm going to give you 1 minute each.
What is there is just leadership. Our leaders should see that the country is, whatever you do after here, if you leave this country, once you die today, those that will be behind should have something to talk about you for. We are today mentioning Obafemi Awolowo, Nnamdi Azikiwe, and all of those past leaders that have placed this country the way it was before we came to meet it, because they provided the leadership. Those in position of authority today should give us leadership and governance, and that is all Nigerians want, nothing more.
Mamman.
In addition to what he said, is we need to have that zeal to have Nigeria at heart. being elected into office does not mean it is something that will last forever. It is just something for a period of time. And I believe a lot of governors today, after 2 years, they will have that fear to even go to their locality. Why? Because greed, selfish interests, everybody, a lot of people in government today are not after those that are governing. So we need to make hay before the sunshine. We need to understand that this country is where we don't have any place called Nigerian but here. Let us have a fear of God. And lastly, let us pray to God to give us a lasting solution. Because it's only God that will intervene for us.
Yes. I want to thank my guests for being on the show. Time is never our friend. On the show, I want to thank Comrade Musa Mamman kontagira and Prince Richard Oriri, Public Affairs Analyst and Social Affairs Analyst, for coming on the show. As a Nigerian, you've heard all that has been said here. I'll take the final word from Mamman. You have to have the zeal as a Nigerian. You have to carry Nigeria in your heart. That is the only way that the solutions that we seek will happen. It starts with one, then it spreads to other. Until you carry Nigeria in your heart and remember that this is the only nation that we call home, then we are still in the dark, and the light definitely appears to be very far away. That's the way we'll call it a day on the show on the press today. Tomorrow is another date, and of course we bring you Monday to Friday right here on the press. My name is Anire Binitie. Enjoy the rest of your day.